topic. As we are coming to the end of the year for taxes, and tax season is not far, it's only a few months away. A question I get rather often is people want to know some ways that they can feel good about the tax professional that they're using. So I came up with 5 ways you can trust your tax pro. 5 ways that you can know that you made a great choice in the tax professional that you have chosen, or as you are looking for a new tax professional to help you going forward, how to make a more confident decision. So, again, my name is Chanel Simmons. I'm an enrolled agent as well as a tax solution specialist. And what I do is I help you stress less when it comes to the IRS. So that is my way of helping out my clients across the nation with their personal and their business taxes. So let's get to it. 5 ways you can trust your tax professional. Okay. So, way number one, ask questions. One of the best ways you can trust your tax professional is just simply ask whatever question that you may have. Ask questions about their credentials. Ask questions about what is it that they know in regards to your personal, business, economic situation. Ask questions about their procedures. And if they're unable to answer or you don't feel good about it, then that might not be a tax professional that you may feel the most comfortable with, right? But definitely ask the questions that you need to be answered to feel good about the selection that you made when it comes to the person that's going to handle something as important as your taxes, right? So, tip number one in trusting the tax professional that you plan to use is ask questions, but also to be prepared for the questions that they may ask you. The best tax professionals are not going to just look at your documentation. They're going to ask you questions, and it's not because they're trying to get all in your business or they're prying. They're trying to get a better understanding of who you are and how your business may operate behind those numbers. Sometimes what's on paper is not the full picture. So, in order to make sure you get the best tax treatment and the best deductions and credits available to you, questions have to be asked. And we ask for you to provide us with those answers that will not be available on paper. So, in addition to you asking your tax professional questions, the way you know you found a very trustworthy tax professional is they in turn will ask you questions as well to make sure that the tax return is being prepared in the best way for you legally possible. Okay. Way number two to know that you can find a tax professional that you can trust is that they provide you with realistic outcomes, right? If you ever encounter any tax professional, this is a CPA, an attorney, an enrolled agent, any tax professional, even if they're not licensed, who tells you that they can guarantee you a refund, just run, just leave. Especially if they've never looked at any documents of yours or they've never prepared your taxes before and they're meeting you for the first time, there should be no guarantees. A lot of times we always say in the tax profession that the number one answer that we can give that's the most honest is that it always depends on your personal situation, on the current tax law, and then of course, just how things are coming out as far as the computations. But if someone is just without looking at anything that you provide them, automatically saying to you, I can definitely get you $5,000, that is a huge red flag. Do not listen to outlandish promises that a professional claims to give you. At that point, they're probably not a professional. It's most likely a scam. And you don't want to get caught in that. You just don't. So just know, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So again, realistic outcomes, something where, if you had a refund before and the person, might look at your situation right now and just without maybe putting the return together say, you most likely will get a refund, but we'll see. That's realistic. But to just say, I could definitely get you 10 grand today, that's something that that would be a huge red flag. You should probably run, right? So realistic outcomes is another way to make sure to be a great indicator that you are working with a trustworthy tax professional. And then I spoke about it a little bit, credentials, right? Credentials and experience. Because not every tax professional is a CPA, is an enrolled agent, or even an enrolled agent. Some tax preparers are just merely, they prepare returns. Some of them are registered tax return preparers, meaning that they took a test with the IRS, as well as got like a few, like I want to say it's like 15 or 16 continuing educational credits. So they're pretty well versed in the current tax law and they've been tested by the IRS, but they're not a CPA, they're not an enrolled agent, and they're not an accountant. And going back to the CPAs and attorneys of it all, CPAs and attorneys both have the capabilities, even if they don't specialize in tax, to research tax law because by their degree, that's what they're certified technically to do. But almost like a doctor, you have your doctors out there who, they all doctors can take a heartbeat, but not every doctor is a surgeon. That's like the best example I can give you, right? So when you're talking about someone who's dealing with taxes specifically, you really want to make sure that your CPA or your attorney is, in fact, truly a tax specialist. And even if they aren't, find out sometimes who will be the person working on your return because sometimes it's not them, right? So you just want to make sure that the person that is actually hands-on onto your return kind of knows what they're doing. Don't allow credentials to just you know, get you overly confident that the person you're working with knows exactly what they're doing. But credentials do help. Not having any credentials is more of a red flag than having credentials, right? And then enrolled agents, for those of you who do not know, they're considered the tax specialists. All of their continuing education credits are solely in tax. But depending upon what you might need, you may need someone who also have other credentials, who might need an accounting background. So you can maybe get with someone who might not necessarily be a CPA, but be a degreed accountant and an enrolled agent. You may get with someone who you may need legal advice in addition to your taxes. So you may get with a tax attorney. So there's different scenarios as to why you might need different types of tax professionals, but credentials do matter. Um, but just be very mindful of, you want to make sure that they in fact are specialized in tax and don't just be blinded by it is a attorney, it is a accountant or CPA, and that you just automatically believe that they will be able to know the taxes just based on their credentials. Experience matters, right? Exposure matters. And again, sometimes some of the people who are very well versed in tax law and experience, they may not have the credentials. So that brings me to my next point, reviews. We are very fortunate to live in a time where online people will, give kudos or tear down a professional. They will say, okay, this person is outstanding, right? Or they'll say, yes, this person may have a beautiful office or etc. But, you know, something was something wasn't right with them and I would never do business with them again. Look at reviews. As we all know, there's Google, there's Facebook, social media, but then also too, outside of reviews, there may be articles. Sometimes some of your best people, they may not have like a social media presence, but they might be in professional journals. They may be in like the National Enrolled Agent Association's newsletter. They might be have an article online on the tax advisor website. So sometimes just doing a general Google search, in addition to looking for reviews, you might also find some articles or publications or books that they may have written that will further establish their expertise and that give you a kind of an idea of who in fact you are working with. Now, on the other side, If the person has no reviews at all, um, I wouldn't say necessarily that's a red flag per se, but I would ask, if you could possibly maybe get some referrals. If they have someone that, like a secretary or somebody, or just them themselves, if they wouldn't mind providing a referral for a client or two, especially if you believe that this will be like a long term relationship with this person, or if you have a really big tax matter that you want them to handle for you, you can always ask for a referral, and then of course shop around and ask people who might know them. Just what do they think of their services? So, but reviews, feedback, publications, all of that will help you solidify whether or not this is my tax professional that I can trust, right? And if all else fails, I'm a firm believer of instincts and vibe, right? I firmly believe that even with the credentials, even with the referrals, even with the reviews, if in fact, once, let's say you're on that discovery call or as such, you're not vibing with that person, you want to make sure that you vibe with them, right? This is your money at stake. This is, you doing business. I always say, best tax relationships are built with knowing that you guys are going to work together for multiple tax years, right? That it's not a one and done, especially too when it is that way, you're able to make recommendations to them throughout the year because you know that person better when you're a tax professional like myself, um, than just being able to say like, okay, I'm having to learn you brand new. So if your instincts with that person, once you start to work with them, you're like, I don't know, like something just, even though everything about you on paper is great, I don't know, then, go with your instincts. But on the other side, if at the end of the day, you really trust this person, everything works great, they do have something to back it up, you feel good about it, go forward, be great. There are more trustworthy tax professionals out there than there are not. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's not a lot of people out here who are trying to scheme and scam. There just aren't. Technology is a wonderful thing, and that it's doing an amazing job in trying to keep a lot of the fraud down when it comes to matching up information on tax returns versus what is already filed with the IRS. So, and the IRS themselves, I'm sure many of you are learning, are doing a pretty good job in trying to mitigate just misinformation. So, you know, you can go forward now typically and pretty much try to get with a tax professional and be okay. So I just want you to know that, those are some of the things you look for when you're trying to find a tax professional that you can trust. If you are in the market for still looking for a tax professional, I am taking on clients. Right now, I'm doing advice for year end. So, if you want to, please click into the link below to schedule a solution consultation if you need any advice. And otherwise, you take care. Until next time. Bye.